when it comes to the boots, I'm just wanting to make something that I know will stand the test of time.
Welcome to Leaders of the West, a podcast for innovators and changemakers. I'm your host, Jessie Jarvis, the founder of the West, and I'm sitting down with agriculturalists, entrepreneurs, executives, and everyone in between with the goal of digging into the strategies, mindsets, and lessons that have been crucial to the success of ag and Western. Whether you're carrying on the next generation of your family's operation, starting something from scratch, or determined to climb up the leadership ladder, we're going to inspire you to continue to dream big, growing not just you, but the future of agriculture and Western as a whole. Let's go. It's the first 2 weeks of a brand new quarter, which can only mean one thing. Be a Maker School is open for enrollment. So what exactly is Be a Maker School? It's an online course platform specifically for Western trades. You can learn from home and at your own pace and join a community of makers and entrepreneurs who can support you as you build skills and confidence in your newfound hobby or career. Be a Maker School offers courses in equine photography, cinch making, rawhide and leather braiding, silversmithing and engraving, leatherwork and tooling, and then there's also a business course called The Business of Making, where I am one of the instructors. That course specifically details all of the business aspects behind being a maker. Different sales channels, shipping, marketing, website, branding, email correspondence, goal setting, and a number of other topics. As I mentioned earlier, Be a Maker School is only open for enrollment for the first 2 weeks of every quarter. So if you're interested now, it's definitely worth checking out. Otherwise, you have to wait another 3 months. You can grab all of the info at beamaker.school. Again, that website is beamaker.school. I can't wait to hear how you have inspired and fostered the maker that is inside of you. Welcome to this week's episode of Leaders of the West. If you have ever slipped on a pair of cowboy boots that felt like they were made just for you, you will understand why City Boots has become more than just a brand. It truly is a movement. And today's guest is Lizzy Bentley, the founder and CEO of City Boots and one of the most stylish forces who is reshaping the modern Western industry. What started as a personal hunt for the perfect boot turned into a bold leap from the corporate world to a full-on commitment to craftsmanship and legacy and design. In this episode, we talk about how Lizzy built a luxury brand with cowboy soul and what it really takes to scale a business that is rooted in tradition and how she's creating space for people to step into the Western world with confidence and style and bringing the Western world to modern places across the U.S. So you guys are going to love this episode. Welcome to the show, Lizzy Bentley. Lizzy, you are the queen behind City Boots, which I know everybody has heard of City Boots. They are the most elegant, luxurious, like the coolest cowboy boots on the block. We're going to get into all of that. But first, let's tell people a little bit more about you. You grew up in West Texas?
Yeah, from Amarillo, from the Panhandle.
Okay, what was life like in the Panhandle, aside from being windy, right?
Yeah, definitely. We've got the wind. It was great. I love being from Amarillo. If you ask anyone that knows me now, I'm like really proud of where I'm from. I grew up there, from birth to leaving for college, and it's a really, really amazing place to grow up. You get a little bit of everything. You've got some cowboy culture, but it's still 200,000 people, so it's a pretty sizable town. The one thing we don't have is anything close by. So we're 6 hours from Dallas, 6 hours from Denver, and that puts us out there kind of on an island, which is also kind of a fun way to grow up too.
Oh, absolutely. So then you went to college, you left Amarillo, and then you created City Boots. So kind of give us what happened leading up to the creation of City Boots.
Sure. So when I went to school, I went to college in Dallas at SMU, and when I showed up at school, I had brought some cowboy boots with me, and I started wearing them around for fashion purposes, which I'd always worn cowboy boots for fashion. It's just kind of part of the culture I'm from. particularly in my family. And then one of the interesting things about where I went to school is it's very out of state, very urban people that typically go to school there, people from like big cities. And they really had an interest in what I was wearing and wanted to know where they could buy it. And there really wasn't a place. I mean, we were in Dallas. A lot of the boots I was wearing were kind of vintage styles that I had found on Etsy or eBay. And they were a little different than what was available to buy at the time. And so that's kind of where the idea came from. I would say that's like for city boots specifically. But then I would also say that I'd always had an interest in owning my own business. I come from a family of entrepreneurs and was one of those kids who was always like cooking up business ideas like lemonade stands and dog walking services and things like that. So that was always kind of in my makeup, I guess. And yeah, so from there, I kind of just ended up marrying the two, and that's how City Boots was born. I mean, it's not quite that simple, but that's really the kind of the core theme behind how it came to be.
So I know that you didn't start the company right out of college. You had a career stint, correct?
Yes, I spent, it wasn't that long, but I did spend a few years in the corporate world in the oil and gas field, which I loved. I always loved the oil and gas business, but I did not love sitting in a cubicle. And that was part of the fire that kind of got under me to like do something else. So really City Boots was kind of a creative outlet. I did it for pretty much the whole time. Once I started working, it became an idea, and then it became a hobby, and then it became oh no, let's go ahead and like try and make this happen. So I would use my vacation days and go visit factories and just started building a website and all kinds of things that it takes to kind of launch something.
I know that everyone is kind of dying to know, none of your family, while they are all entrepreneurs, none of them came from the cowboy boot industry, correct?
That's right. No.
At this time, were you Googling how to make boots, or like, did you have any kind of because a lot of boot making is done in Mexico, specifically in Leon, is like the boot making capital of the world. So it's not like there's a boot factory in downtown Dallas, 2 blocks away from your apartment that you can go check out. So how did all of that work out? Because it's not necessarily an easy field to get started in.
Right. So it's a great question. So really, if I hadn't thought about this in a really long time, but social media was a huge part of that. So here's what I would say. If somebody's out there who's interested in starting something, all you have to do is start talking about it. And that's what I did. So I started talking about it and doing research and learning about it. And that led me to other people who had similar interests. And I'd go have lunch with them and we'd talk about it. And I'd learn a little something at everything I did. And then you got to get your hands dirty. So one weekend, my mom and I just flew down to Mexico and started talking to people. And it led me to where I am now. So, I mean, you just got to start having conversations and getting your hands dirty. If you have an idea, there's somebody out there who can make it. And that's actually, I would say, the easy part.
I totally could agree. So one of the things that I think is very unique about you is you have really stayed true to your vision for the company throughout its growth. Because how long have you guys been in business now? 10 years.
Yeah, we just kicked off our 10th year. Exactly.
So over 10 years, especially in the fashion industry where everything is changing and we're all following these trends, you are very true to this vision of blending Texas heritage with modern style. And you've never, that has been your focus, and you have done that really, really well. How do you stay true to that, especially as your brand grows?
So from you're right. If I think about it, it's kind of crazy. Like, we still have boots in the line that were in the line the day we launched. But that's part of what I wanted the brand to be about is, I was able to inherit my grandmother's boots. And they were this classic red Roper pair of boots. And they're still relevant today because they are so classic. So it was important for me to infuse the brand with like you said, the quality and the authenticity in a way that allowed the product to be worn for years and years and years, because it is an investment. Cowboy boots at this level are truly an investment. They're a piece of art, in my opinion. And so I want to make sure that I'm making something that can be worn for years to come and just looks better as it's worn more. So that to me, I mean, that was my vision from the beginning. And it was why I was able to, I think, have success, because we were doing it a little differently. And so when you're having success with something, it makes it a little bit easier to like stick to it. And not every style we've launched has been successful, but I think that's probably where I come from. And then I just, my mom has been a big influence in the way that I dress and the way I look at fashion. And she would always tell me to wear things that I would feel like if I saw a picture of myself 10 years from now, I wouldn't be like, what the heck was I wearing?
I think we all need that advice.
Right? It's such good advice. And I would say that I probably stray a little bit from that now, but because I like to have a little more fun with what I wear. But when it comes to the boots, I'm just wanting to make something that I know will stand the test of time.
Well, and I love that you bring up your mother, because you guys have kicked off your 10-year anniversary back in May and around the time of Mother's Day. And so you had this really great video series on social media, and I watched every single one of them, I think. But one of the things that your mom said is when you guys first launched, you launched with very classic colors, right? Like the Amarillo and the suede and the cream and the black and red. And then some of your ideas were the turquoise and the pink. And your mom was like, I don't know about this. And now the pink boots are some of the ones that she's worn the most. And she told you that she needs a new pair of them. So how do you balance okay, these are our classic styles. Turquoise and pink are definitely not classic cowgirl boots, but you know that is kind of the modern side of city boots.
I think what the colors did for the brand, that I didn't even do it purposely, but there's something about cowboy boots in general that typically lean a little masculine, especially historically. Like if you look at, most of the cowboy boot brands are run by men, and women were underserved in that market, which is why we were able to kind of sneak in and have success. But one of the reasons too, I think, is women weren't interested in cowboy boots from a fashion perspective as much, especially outside of the Western world, because there is this masculine element to it. And so when we brought in the softer colors that we still every day sell at City Boots and will always be a part of our kind of core line at this point, like pink is a core color now. It softened that look for women, and it also plays on the nostalgia of cowboy boots to me as well, especially the pink in particular.
No, I love that. Because as a little girl, right? Like every little girl has a pair of...
The original idea behind it was that I had little pink boots as a little girl, and that's like been around forever. Why should we not celebrate that side of us in our adult life as well?
Well, and I think there's a lot of truth to that too, because now we see that like there are a lot of, and I'm not going to get into psychology by any means, but a lot of psychologists like, go back and find your inner child. Like, what did that person enjoy? Was it coloring? Was it, art? Things like that like you actually genuinely find enjoyment out of, which is as an adult can be hard to do unless you have some kind of specific hobby. Like, what is it that I actually enjoy doing? So again, I think that's kind of the probably nod to that as far as, again, not that I'm a psychologist, but
it's true. It is true. And that's why I designed it, was because I wanted that like nostalgia. And then it just turned into this thing that was so much bigger than I ever thought it would be. And I think the pink the blue and the pink, I think are just, I don't know. I love them. I can't get enough of them.
Well, later on, I'm going to have to ask you what your favorite pair is. I know that's like picking a favorite kid, but you can prepare now. On this topic though, you have done a lot of really big collaborations. LoveShackFancy is one. There are some wild names out there who are wearing your boots. I'm pretty sure don't the Kardashians own some city boots? So like, what is the biggest moment for you? Because I can imagine that when you first make these asks or you're first approached, you're like, I'm not saying there's imposter syndrome, but you're like, are we ready for this? Is this really the right move? So tell us how you've dealt with that, how you have made these leaps and bounds, how you've started working, especially with those bigger partnerships that are outside of the industry. Give us the details.
So I would say that like each of these partnerships comes about to us like completely differently. A lot of it comes through social media and people finding the brand there. That's, I think, where LoveShackFancy found us. That's been probably our biggest and most important partnership. It just, what works for these things is when it really aligns for both brands. And Pink Heart Boot really aligns for both brands. And so that's been one that's really fun. I think the coolest thing about that is that it's put our boots across the nation in towns that don't always have a cowboy boot following. They see success there. They sell boots off the shelf. And that's pretty exciting because that's something that's always been, a goal of mine, is to like instill this love for cowboy boots and Western fashion into the mainstream. And, one of the things that we talk about is you don't have to ride a horse to be a cowgirl or to at least have the cowgirl spirit. I like to make sure that our brand fits both. So from a construction standpoint, we're very authentic. But then if you don't have familiarity, it's still a good looking boot. And then as far as like some fun big names that are out there that have the boots, probably the coolest one that I've seen is like Sweeney. So Sweeney actually just bought boots off of our website, which is always such a cool experience when somebody like that like really loves the brand so much that they want to buy because, they're used to like getting so much for free. And then we love working with stylist Mackenzie Carpenter this summer, wore boots on stage at Stagecoach. That was a really cool, exciting partnership. And then Meg Moroney continues to wear our boots, and that's so fun. We're on her album cover. We've been in her music videos, and she wears the boots really well, and it's kind of a perfect fit for us. And so that's another cool one that we've loved working with.
That is awesome. Well, and I think too, what you said about, especially referring back to LoveShackFancy, in that your boots are now all over the nation in their stores in towns that otherwise maybe don't even have a cowboy boot available. The person who's walking into that store and they're picking up these Pink Heart City boots, they are not buying something that was mass produced in China that we know nothing about. Like, these boots are handcrafted. They are created by a woman who is a tried and true Texan who grew up in Amarillo, who like is passionate about cowboy boots and the heritage and all that stands for. And so much thought and energy goes into every little detail of the boot. I think that really says a lot. And I think that that's kind of been a complaint maybe of mainstream cultures, their fascination with the cowboy lifestyle right now, or at least mine is I want people to actually have boots that come from our industry, not somebody outside of our industry who is making some crappy version of what a cowboy boot is. Like, no, that's not actually what a cowboy boot is. If you want a cowboy boot, don't go buy it off of Amazon. Go buy something that is real leather.
Awesome about cowboy boots is they are comfortable and they should be. Not all are, but they should be. And that's why I personally love them, because I could, go to a football game and wear them all day, but I still had like a little bit of fun in my outfit. And so I agree with that. The traditional construction, I think, is really important. We don't talk about it a lot outwardly at City Boots, but inside, it's a big passion of mine to honor that traditional construction of the cowboy boot. And I think for a lot of reasons it's important, but comfort, not the least of them.
No, absolutely not. Okay, while we're still on this topic, looking at City Boots now, what do you feel most proud of when you reflect on how the brand, like how far you guys have came and just really staying true to your roots?
Honestly, I'm just proud we've made it this far. There's definitely been moments where you look up and you're like, is this going to work?
It says every entrepreneur ever.
This is the name of the game, and you have to be really comfortable in that uncertainty and be able to make good decisions in, stressful times. And so I would say that I'm just proud that we've been able to make it into this 10-year mark and hopefully we'll do another 20 or more. We'll just go like 5 at a time. But I think just surviving that long, and not just surviving, but honestly kind of thriving, and both have been present for sure, surviving and thriving, but just being in a place that we can serve our customer and continue to expand in that way. And I think I'm really proud of just what we've built. And it's been definitely a group effort. So,
well, you should be very proud of what you built. We've talked a lot about the high moments, right? The LoveShackFancies and the celebrities and the starting with a very few core styles and expanding over the years and tall boots and short boots and a little bit of everything. But it hasn't been easy. You've definitely had a lot of heartbreak along the way. Specifically, you lost your husband in 2019. He was in his 30s and then had a stroke, like completely unexpectedly. So obviously something like that is absolutely like gut-wrenching. It is heart-shattering. So how did you find the strength to keep City Boots going during such a difficult time? And what has allowed you to keep your focus on your vision for your brand, but also really like giving yourself time and space as needed?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And it's also a big part of the brand story because for a lot of reasons. As it's definitely a life-defining moment to lose someone that suddenly at such a young age. I was 29. The brand had been around for about 4 or 5 years, and my life literally just tipped upside down, and everything that had been working towards and planning, and my support system and everything just kind of disappeared overnight. So I was kind of, in a way, forced to figure it out. Like, you get in these moments, and, I was lucky enough to have really good support around me. But City Boots in that moment kind of became a lifeline for a lot of reasons. It was, how I was going to provide for myself, because really my husband was the breadwinner, and I needed something to provide for myself financially, which made it extremely important. It gave me something to focus on, which was such a blessing and something to kind of just look forward to and have to plan and just get moving. And then I would say it also gave me, like, whenever he first passed, I was like, I'm going to sell it. And blah, blah, blah. Like, you don't really know what you're doing in that moment, though. But what I decided was to keep it. But I knew that if I wanted to keep it, I needed to get help. And so I ended up starting to hire help, whereas for the first 5 years, it had just been a me thing. And hiring help is what ended up lifting the brand up. And it was such a great life lesson. And just, you can't do it all. And then also just, one of the things that I truly believe in is that the Lord provides. And consistently in my life, He has shown up and provided, like, maybe not like excessively, but He's given me just enough to get to that next point that's going to get me to the next point and get me to the next point. And I would say that that's like a key theme in my life personally. But yeah, I mean, that is like a whole large topic that I still deal with every day. And hopefully I kind of said that clearly.
No, that's wonderful. And I think that you are so right in ending with this idea that even though it was so long ago, it's not something that you ever get over or that has ever gone from you. It's not something that, like, you get past in a way. So if there is somebody who is listening who has maybe kind of dealt with something similar or something that is just so completely out of the blue, life-changing, gut-wrenching, what kind of advice would you give them, thinking back to kind of where you were in those earlier times?
Yeah, I would say, like, this could be seen as cheesy, but it's actually so true. It's like literally one foot in front of the other. And I always think about that with the boots too, is like they, like, both literally and figuratively have given me something that just put one foot in front of the other, and slowly you'll be able to see the horizon a little better. So that would be my advice. I have lots of advice, but that's a good one for sure.
That's definitely great advice. On the topic of advice still, let's talk about aspiring entrepreneurs who maybe are just starting out, they're in an industry, and they are more focused on or too focused on mimicking larger, more established brands in their industry? Because when you think about boots, there are a lot of boot brands in the cowboy boot industry. A lot of them have been around a lot longer than 10 years. So how have you really kept your blinders on and kept your eye on the prize and not worried about or see those other brands as competition? Because that is something that you have done a phenomenal job at.
Oh, thank you. I really just keep my head in the sand. It's sometimes really hard, but I think the reason we even have a brand is because we did something that was different. And the reason I did something different is because I wanted something that didn't exist. And so when I'm designing, when I'm thinking about the brand, I'm really just thinking about what do I want and what am I hearing from the customer that the customer wants, and just going with that. And that served me well. I try really hard to not, honestly, it stresses me out if people start like telling me like, oh, did you see so-and-so's doing this? I'm just like, that is stress I don't need. Like, there's enough stress. So I'm big on like reducing stress. And so I just don't pay attention to it.
Well, I think that that's perfect advice because, like you said, the reason that you're in business is because you wanted to create something that did not exist. So then if you start looking at what other brands are doing and wanting to mimic them because you're thinking to yourself, well, they've been around this long, I want to be around this long, so I need to do what they're doing, then you are inadvertently leaving that original idea, which was, I want to create something that does not exist. So I think that's a really important perspective to have.
But I also think there's value in looking at other businesses, maybe not necessarily in your field. Like for me, I'm always trying to find other brands that are similar size to me or maybe like even a little bigger and looking at them to see, what did they do that got them to this next level? So there's some good in that too. Like there's each stage of growth has its own challenges and its own little like keys to unlock. So if you can look around and learn from somebody else, then I'm all about that.
I love that.
But it doesn't have to be like, that's more of the back end side of things than really the product. You still want your product to be, unique to your brand.
No, I think that makes a lot of sense. Okay. A couple more questions before we get to the rapid fire round. The first is, are there any new styles coming on the horizon? Is there anything exciting that you can share with us? What are you looking forward to within your business?
Okay, so I think that by the time this goes live, we're going to have something pretty cool that had just launched, and that's going to be our Spirit collection. So we've done a limited run of boots that are inspired by university or team colors. We continue to see game day be a huge place where our customer loves to wear the boots. And so we've done it in a really non-cheesy way as I like, I'm not about the cheese. And I'm excited about that. And then we do have a new silhouette coming this fall. Can't really share about it because it's going to be something that's pretty new. But we do have a new silhouette coming I'm excited about. And also a really cool like capsule collection for our 10-year anniversary that we're going to be celebrating this fall and winter.
Okay, I love it. Okay, now we're going to get to the rapid fire round. These are questions we ask all of our guests. You do get a special question, and I did allude to it earlier in the show. That is, what is your favorite boot? Here, how about this? What is your favorite, or like the one you wear most? If somebody is going to buy their first pair of city boots, what style do you think they'll love most or get the most wear out of? Think about it in those terms.
Okay, I gotta kind of like look around because I'm literally surrounded by my boots in my living room here. First pair of boots I suggest for people would be the Amarillo boot. It's our bone suede with bone top. It's the best boot. It just goes with everything. It's all year round. It's really elegant. And it's also my hometown's namesake. And I love that boot. So I would definitely suggest that one. And then one of the boots I'm really loving is a black and gold lightning bolt boot. It's just like a very sexy look. And it's fun for going out and just like looking your best. I love it for concerts. I love it it goes with a lot too. And then I've got to say, can I do 4?
Yeah, you can.
Okay. Because I always say not one boot does all the jobs. Like,
No, I was going to say those are 2 tall boots, so we got to talk about a booty.
yeah, so the 24/7 boot I'm obsessed with. We just launched it last year or this year, and I'm obsessed with it. The gold 24/7 boot, I'm about to have to get my second pair because I've just worn it so much, and it's awesome. That's my boot if I'm going on a trip. That's kind of what I take. I love that one. I would suggest that as a first city boot as well. And then it's just so versatile. And then I just love our pink boot too. I think the pink heart, or even just the regular pink or the new pink croc that we are doing. It's such a good neutral. People probably don't realize that, but that's the thing I love about that boot. It goes with so much. You can pair it with red, with denim, with black, with all pinks. It's really a neutral, and pink is a neutral.
No, I agree with that. It's kind of like leopard and camo. Those are both neutrals
exactly.
as well.
Pink, leopard, camo. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, those were great. Now onto the real rapid fire round questions. What do you hope people remember most about you?
I hope they remember that our boots are comfortable, and I hope they remember that I'm kind.
What is one non-negotiable in your life?
Honesty.
If you were a professional athlete, what would your walk-up song be?
Okay, that's a good one. Well, can I say what I would play?
Yes.
I would play football. I'm obsessed with football.
Hence the game day spirit collection.
I'm obsessed with football. And I would say my walk-up song, which I guess is more like a baseball thing, but it would definitely be something by Lizzo. I'm obsessed with Lizzo.
Okay. Yeah, I feel like it's either got to be that or like a boot song, but a song like Whose Bed Have Your Boots Been Under? That's not necessarily the kind of song you want your walk-up song to be.
No, it's not, but it is a great song. There are some amazing songs about boots.
We'll have to look into that. Okay. What is the smartest thing that somebody's ever told you?
Oh gosh, that's hard. Probably was like around my grief is probably like, that's just like the most important time in my life that I received advice. And I would say that just the idea that time heals was probably the best advice that I got, because it allowed me to, like, in my really hard moments, know that wasn't going to last forever.
Ooh, okay. A last question for you. Favorite things. Do you have a favorite book or a podcast, or you travel all the time? Do you have a travel hack or a life hack, a product that you love, something that has changed your life and you just think more people need to know about it?
I have lots of like little hacks. That
Share them all. We're here for it.
I love everything I try to make things simple. As far as books, I'm always reading something or listening to someone. I really like Lauren Bostic's podcast. Do you listen to her?
Yes, I love Skinny Confidential. Does she have city boots?
She doesn't.
Lauren, you need to buy some city boots.
Pink ones.
Yes.
I love her stuff. Her products are so good. I don't know if you've bought her products. They're really good. Like, the quality's really good on her stuff.
That is so funny. They had an anniversary sale. What was that, in April, maybe?
You get everything on it.
Yeah, I basically did. No, the brow peptide. I have the ice roller.
Face rollers. I like her products are so good. And anyone I know who's gotten her products feels the same way. And so that would be one of mine podcasts that I listened to. Recently, I read an interesting book by Dan Martell called Buy Back Your Time.
Mm-hmm.
And do you follow him?
Yes.
He's like firing on all cylinders at all times. But that book really helped me add some structure into my life and my team. I'm pretty unstructured. I'm a pretty unstructured person, but you can't do what I do and have no structure. So his ideas kind of helped me add some structure where I needed it. And so I was appreciative of that. And then I've been reading like novels lately, but the other hack that I have is the valet at DFW airport.
Okay, I have heard that, because you fly out of whatever gate and then you get back in a completely different gate, and it is an absolute nightmare to then go back to get your car. So valet at DFW airport.
Yeah, it's the Freedom Park, not the regular one, Freedom Park. And you just call them. They send you instructions exactly where to meet their people. They get your bag out of the car and they'll wash and everything while you're gone. And since I travel so much, that's one of the ways I reduce stress around travel is because sometimes like I just want to drive myself to the airport. I don't ride in an Uber. Like you don't know, are they going to drive too slow or like, and I'm kind of running on a timeline. So I like to kind of be in control about getting myself to the airport. But then once I'm there, it's nice to be able to just hand it off. And that actually reduces a lot of stress in my life.
I love that. That is genius. Okay, Lizzy, where can people find you online? Where can they go buy a pair of city boots?
www.cityboots.com. We also have stores in both Fort Worth and Houston. If you want to come check us out, showrooms, and we're open 6 days a week in both those locations. So we'd love to have you in the store. If you can't make it online, give us a call. I've got a great customer service team that will help take care of you and walk you through any questions that you have. And then on Instagram at City Boots Official. My personal is at Lizard Boots. I love talking to you guys. So follow me there. And that's pretty much it.
And Lizzy is so right. If you guys are in Fort Worth, obviously there's a store in Fort Worth and Houston, but I feel like most of our listeners probably go to Fort Worth a little bit more than Houston. That being said, you guys have got to go to the store. I went for the first time back in February. I tried a ton of boots on, which there's no better way to shop for boots than to be able to try them on in person, walk around in them, get a feel for them. It is the coolest little shop. I love it. The vibe is take some girlfriends, swing by. Men, if you're listening to this, City Boots would make a great Christmas present, Mother's Day present, birthday present, whatever holiday is coming up. Just a random Friday present. We're open to those too.
A lot of male customers. It's a big gift. Boots are always a great gift, and the women love it and the men love it. So
yeah, you can't go wrong with boots. So Lizzy, thank you so much. This was great. You guys, do us a favor. Take your favorite piece of advice from today. Share it in your stories. Make sure to tag Lizzy, tag Of the West. You can catch us back here next week. Brand new episode of Leaders of the West will be coming at you. Until then, stay tuned. We'll see you guys.
If you loved this episode, do us a favor and share it with someone else who might find just as much value in it as you did. We're on a mission to continue to grow and strengthen the future of agriculture and Western industries, and you spreading the word helps us make more of a positive impact. It also makes a big difference when you take a minute to go rate and review the show. We can't thank you enough for listening, for sharing, and for loving Ag and Western as much as we do. We'll see you back here for our next episode.